Still bad borders to live from headquarters. We went for bread on us, police and feds on us. We set to head forward, no wreck, no bread corners. We fed the best corners, low heat, no stress on us. That's God's grace. Yeah, that's God's grace. That's God's grace.
Hey, what up, world? This is Big Prophet Jewel Podcast, episode number 2. Now, this one, I have the honor of having the guest, the hip hop artist known as S. Now, this brother, I met him many years ago at a show. He's very talented, one of the most talented, and one of the most gifted and incredible writer when it comes to hip hop. He is the definition of hip hop. Um, we've collaborated. He's worked with many artists around the world, many artists in the industry, and very, very intelligent, genius brother. And he talks about so many different real topics in his music. And if you want to hear really good hip hop, actual real hip hop, and how an artist should do their art, this is the brother to listen to. All right. Hope you enjoy this episode. And I will just let them know, like, yo, you're the quintessential hip hop artist, if there ever was
Oh
one
boy.
that I know. Like you are literally the epitome of a hip hop artist to me.
Appreciate that. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, for real. Like I don't like if you know the culture of hip hop, that's what I think. I think you exemplify that. Like being able to live it and express it and be yourself and find your voice through hip hop. So like what does that mean to you? What does a hip hop mean to you?
Oh man, hip hop is it's just it's like it's hard to put in words. It's sort of like my it's a bunch of things. It's like salvation for me. Is mental health. It's peace of mind. It's energy. It's my way to express myself. You know, share my thoughts, my views on the world with like-minded people. You know, the energy, the rhythm of it, the power of the spoken word, the impact that it has on people's lives. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things. It's a whole bunch of. I mean, it's pain, it's joy, it's you know wins, it's losses. It's basically everything life encompassing. You know, over the drum, you know, over the rhythm, and you know, in the form of rhyme. I mean, as one aspect of it. So that, in a nutshell, is what hip hop feels to me, what it is to me, what it means to me, and yeah, I think that's also one of the ways that I'm able to meet new people, connect with you know different audiences, and you know find common ground with strangers through this beautiful art form and culture that we know as hip hop.
Like who's like if you were able to name 3 of your biggest influences, who would it be?
Three of my biggest influences. I'd probably say one of them would be probably KRS-One. He's probably one of the early influences that sort of opened up my eyes to what this thing could do in terms of you know the message, you know the style of it, you know the impactfulness of you know speaking on issues that people need to hear, or what I believe people need to hear. You know, speaking on social issues, speaking on you know personal issues, and doing it in such a way that it's not only educational but also entertaining. So edutainment is probably the perfect hybrid of words that you could put at it. So he's one. Another influence of mine would probably be like a Master Ace. He's
Mm,
one of my favorites in terms of
complicated,
the way
yeah.
that he's able to tell stories, you know, through his conceptual albums, and tell a story from front to back, and you follow through his life or his whatever story he's telling. So storytelling is I gain a lot of inspiration from him. And the third, probably I'm gonna say Elzai.
Yeah.
He's sort of a really skilled wordsmith, great storyteller as well, and he's just real creative with the way that he does his concepts. So just off the top, I say those three are probably a couple of my biggest influences. There's plenty other honorable mentions, but for starters, I say those three off top will probably be my biggest influences.
True, true. Yeah. So like you're definitely a purist for the hip hop.
Yeah, yeah, to a fault. I don't know. Maybe to a fault. I don't know.
It- So I noticed like you're a very peaceful guy and you like I know you don't try to speak negative about anybody, but I do notice that you do have this sense of jadedness towards negativity in the culture. Would you speak on that?
Yeah, I mean, this my whole thought process with the style or the brand of hip hop music that I like to make. I want it to be uplifting. I mean, there's enough negativity in the world as we know it. There's such a negative stigma. Being black men in this side of the world, it already comes with such negative stigmas about us. And I just don't want to feed into that. I just want to be sort of the voice of reason, the voice, the positive voice, the other side that maybe doesn't get the type of attention or press that it deserves. I mean, black men can be intelligent, black men can be, informative. We have minds too. We can, convey something other than how we're portrayed in the media. And in addition to that, just my upbringing. I wasn't raised to be villainous or anything like that. And I also want to be a positive inspiration, source of light for my own family. My own kids look up to me as their leader and person that they can look up to, as the positive example. And, I just want to convey that. I want to be that to them and also to myself. And, you know, this is how I conduct myself in real life outside of music. And, music is an extension of me. I don't put on any, false personas or anything like that. Like how we're talking right now, this is who I am on and off record. So
Right.
I just try to be, myself when I do make music. So what you hear, of me on record is the same person that you'll experience off record. So that's basically what I try to put out there, the kind of energy I want to put out there.
But you're from your family from Cameroon, right?
Cameroon, yeah. Both
Yeah.
both of my parents are from
So
Cameroon.
like how does that um like influence you? Like what kind of influences do you get from that?
I think it's probably the being humble. I mean, my parents, they came to this country in the early 70s, mid 70s, with, nothing but, a couple of dollars in their pocket and a dream of a better life, creating a better life for themselves and their future offspring. So, you know, didn't grow up, affluent by any means, but, we had love, we had hard work, and that was sort of the way that they raised me and my two siblings. So we always had an appreciation for you know being the best that we can be, and not taking life for granted. So that's who I am to the core, and that's sort of what's inspired me to be the go-getter that I am. My parents were go-getters, and they came from very little, and they were able to make something of themselves, and instill in us that work ethic and willingness to be go-getters ourselves. So that's who I am, and that's who we are. You know.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, like outside of music, is there any um other creative talents that you explore?
Outside of music, creatively, nah, not really. I mean, other than just doing the family man thing, yeah, this is my outlet. Just whenever I get to have a few hours to myself every week to sneak away from doing the daddy thing, doing the husband thing. I like to come down here in this little space and write and record. So yeah.
Yeah. So like being an artist and how do you how do you feel being an artist has helped you like mental health wise? Like how do you think it just having a creative outlet, how has that helped you?
It's helped me tremendously. I mean, I think everybody realizes, what's been going on in the world at least the last few years. I mean, it's a lot for the average person to take in, and it's always good to have that escape, whether it's for a few hours a week or a few hours a month or whatever it is, however much time you can sort of set aside to take your mind off of the realities, the heaviness of the world. People, we got 9 to 5s, we work, we do what we can to survive. We got bills, we got stresses at work, and being able to sort of leave that behind for a few hours to make music or be creative or play sports or whatever it is that you do. I think it provides good balance in your life, and I think we as humans, we need some sort of an escape, whatever that escape is. Some people it's sports, some people it's painting, some people it's art, making music. So I think being blessed with a little bit of talent to be able to do what I do, it's sort of an escape for me. I mean, I'm already a fan of the music, and I've been actively doing it, for over 20 years, and I think I couldn't imagine my life without it. And it's just my way to let stuff off my chest, stuff that I observe in the world, stuff that I see that's brings me joy that I want to share, or pain that I see that I want to share. You get to channel that energy in a constructive way, and being able to connect with strangers on that level, and have strangers vibe and relate to what it is you're going through. Creating that relationship or that common ground with strangers is it's not only an adrenaline rush. It's also just an emotional boost as well. And I think having that sort of gets me and people like me through life and through tough situations, because there's enough stresses out there that we have to deal with. So having something that we could sort of fall back on to take our minds off of these stresses is something that prolongs life, prolongs life for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So what which do you prefer, like the creating or performing?
Um, I mean, the creating is the ultimate. Performing it it's a different kind of high. Um, the creative process is that's probably the more challenging of the two, at least for me.
Mm.
I mean, trying to come up with a creative concept or putting together a body of work is always the more challenging of the two. But once you have something that you're proud of and you're ready to share with the world, you being able to share it in a live setting and getting the response from the people is sort of a different kind of level to that creative aspect. So I mean, I enjoy both, but I think the more challenging of the two is the creative, is the actual putting the music together.
What's your favorite, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy listening to beats. I enjoy collaborating with different artists. I mean, we've collaborated a few times over the years.
Yeah,
It's always been a fun experience and a blessing. So
sure.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, man. I still feel honored to be part of that Lyrics Matter track. That's
Ah, sheesh, that's one of my favorites. Thank you.
well,
You
thank
you you
you, man.
definitely laced me with something special on that, and for sure it's a crowd favorite every time I perform that one live.
like I feel honored to be part of that. Every time I see it, I'm just like, damn, I can't believe it. I'm part of that shit. It's great, man. But yeah, which project are you most proud of?
Which project am I most proud of? Um, that's a tough question. That's a really good question. I mean, each project I put out, I love them each for their own different reasons. But I think the one that probably stands out to me the most, probably for sentimental value, would probably be "We Are Only Getting Older." And the reason being is I created that album right around the time I turned 40. So it was already a pretty special time, or a unique time in my life, dealing with the whole ageism dynamic that was pretty prevalent in hip hop, and to a big extent it still is. But just sort of reflecting on where artists, where an artist sits in the landscape of hip hop. Once you hit that you round that 40 mark. How are you accepted? How are you looked at? How are you respected as an artist once you hit that age in this music landscape that's perceived to be a quote unquote young man's or a young person's game? Where do you fit in? That's sort of you know the the dynamic, the place that my head was at that time, just trying to figure that out. So I think it was a moment of reflection for the most part, and I think I was able to come up with a pretty good body of work on that release, and it's something that even to this day, I'm really proud of that project, and I think I had a lot of really good feedback, especially for people in that age bracket, people that maybe have made music at one point in their lives, maybe in their 20s or in their early 30s, and they maybe grow up and you got families, and you dealing with different responsibilities, and maybe hip hop was is sort of on the back burner, but people seem to respond really well to that project. It maybe gave some people hope that, yay, this guy is sort of at the same stage in life as me, and he's still doing it and having fun with it. And this inspires me to want to maybe jump back on the turntables and juggle again, or go out and do gigs again, or maybe pick the pen back up and do what I used to do as a 20-year-old. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of the feedback that I was getting from people, in their 40s in particular, or close to 40, is that, this guy is is doing it. He's having fun with it, and he's speaking to me, he's speaking my language, and I can relate to this guy. And
And
that
it's
was a really,
and it's dope
you know,
too.
a really dope piece of compliment that I was receiving at the time. So I think for that reason, that project, you know, holds a special place in my heart for that reason.
It's dope, yeah. So, like, I'm gonna put out this book, right? And it's called The Hip Hop Guide to Mental Health and Wellness. And
Okay, dope.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah. So it's um like me, I'm 36. I'm turning 37 this year. It's kind of wild. But
ah,
yeah, I feel like I'm an elder statesman in hip hop, right? Like I feel like a responsibility to like give guidance to the the younger artists, right? And
right.
I was I went to the Nas and Wu Tang show um in October, I think.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, so they Nas said something that was like really powerful for me. And everybody that was at the show, they were in their 40s and 50s, right? And I was like, there was a couple young people, there was a couple people in their 20s and stuff, but it was mostly everybody was in their 40s and 50s, and Nas said something about like, yo, hip hop saved my life, right? And
Mm,
I remember that was a saying. I used to hear that a lot, and I didn't hear it for a long time. But that night I heard it, and I was looking around and I was seeing people that like this culture, yo, it saved a lot of people's lives, you know.
yep.
And that's one thing I mentioned in the book was just like how this culture saved a lot of our lives and kept us from falling into trouble and um, turning to negative things. And like, would you agree with that statement? Do you feel like that, or
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it gave me something creative and productive to do with some of my free time. I mean, I'm fortunate that you know, my upbringing, I didn't have to go through a lot of turmoil in my upbringing. I mean, I grew up in a two-parent household, so I mean, a lot of people are not that fortunate. So for me, I saw it as you know, something constructive that I could do with some available free time that I had, and I know for a fact others that are maybe less privileged as I am, that you know, to have you know, two parents in the house, this is something that definitely uh is beneficial to, you know, keep them from, you know, running with the wrong crowd, you know, channeling their energy in a productive, you know, constructive way. And you know, I we've all been hearing stuff like this for the past, you know, 30, 40 years. So it is a real thing. You know, hip hop has changed lives. It has, you know, given opportunities to people, employment opportunities, businesses, you know, fashion. I mean, there's so many different aspects that this beautiful culture has given to a lot of us. So 100%, I agree with that statement.
mm, mm. Well, okay, another thing is like for me, like with the jewels, a big thing for me is definitions, right? Like I always look up definitions. Everybody has their own definitions of what words mean to them, and culture is a word. I want to know what is your definition of the word culture?
Culture. So way of life, you know, the way that uh, a group of people can communicate with one another through, you know, whether it's, you know, way of life, you know, style of dress, the way that we talk to one another, the way that we communicate, the way that we interact. It's the habits that you know we have towards one another. Yeah, it's basically, yeah, the way that we live.
So like do you what do you feel about the way the culture is right now?
The way that the culture is right now. Um, I think there's a lot of positives. There's a lot. I mean, there's negatives too. But I think the culture is doing what it's doing. It's evolving with the way that the world has evolved. I think everybody can agree that you know the culture that we lived back in the 90s, early 2000s is very different from the day and age that we live in right now. And that's without saying. It's something that is inevitable. It as society changes, as the people changes, uh, you know, the culture is going to change too. And it reflects in, the sound of the music, the way people react to it, the way people consume it. There's a lot of talent out there. I mean, with the emergence of the independent movement, a lot of people are a lot more self-sufficient. A lot more people are able to create create music, distribute it themselves, market it themselves. So you could say the playing field has been leveled in that regard. Some of the best music that we've heard ever is coming out nowadays. I mean, the evolution of the technical aspect, for example, of the craftsmanship of creating the music, the complexity of the production, the instruments, the technology that people have at their disposal to create music is way more layered and advanced than even 10 years ago. So, people are experimenting with more sounds now than 10, 20 years ago. So the music is continuing to evolve and get better. Um, with that being said, there's saturation as well, which is probably on maybe more on the negative side. There's a lot more people doing it. The barrier to entry is obviously gone down. There's no uh, you know, I don't want to say gatekeeper, but the 20, 30 years ago, in order for you to even enter the music game, you had to have financing. You had to be able to pay for studio time.
Yeah.
You had to be ready. You had to be an artist that was ready, developed. You had A&Rs and that sort of thing. You had to be media trained. You had to have a team, to basically mold and package you into, a star or an artist. Now, you have artists trying to figure that out by themselves. Maybe they don't have the guidance, they don't have the resources that may be necessary to get that perfect packaging. So you're seeing on maybe on the negative side, you're seeing a little bit of that. But I mean that's to be expected with leveling the playing field and basically opening up the floodgates for more artists to participate. So I mean, I my focus is trying to be the best artist I can be, and supporting the artists, like-minded artists that I like. And those are the people that I give my time and energy to. I don't really spend a whole lot of time supporting the stuff that I don't like. So yeah, I mean it's to be expected. There's dope stuff. There was dope stuff back then. There was whack stuff back then. Same with now. So I'm not gonna say that there's more or less. All I'm gonna say is that the artists that I find dope back then, I'm finding artists in today's day and age that are dope, doing great things, and those are the people that I'm trying to align myself with and support. So I think the culture is in a good place for, the brand or offshoot of hip hop that I spend time and money listening to and supporting. I think the stuff's incredible that's coming out right now.
That's dope. That's dope. So also, like your brother, he's a incredible producer as well. Like, was
Yes,
like, do you guys have music coming out? Like any collaboration?
we've talked about it for a lot of years. Probably well over a decade we've talked about working on some stuff. And you know what? When the timing is right, it'll happen. I think myself, I think I've told this story a few times to some other people that have interviewed me over the years, and they've asked, well, why haven't you two worked together? And for anybody that's not familiar, so Eloquent, he's a dope Canadian producer based out of the Guelph area. Done well for himself. He's an established international, touring artist. He's performed all over the place. He's worked with some of the biggest names in indie hip hop. So I mean, going back probably 20 years, I mean, we had talked about, working on music together. And the big brother and me, I mean, I'm almost 11 years older than him. You could call it big brother pride, whatever you want to call it. When he started rising and like really making a name for himself, one of the things that I swore to myself, and again, it could be big brother pride, is that I was not going to ride his coattails. I mean, he earned everything that he's accomplished, and I refused in my own, selfishness or pride or whatever you want to call it, that I wasn't going to just tag, tag along on his coattails. He earned and worked hard for everything that he's accomplished, and I vowed that I want to stand on my own to build my own little thing over here. And if at some point along the journey I'm able to elevate myself to a respectable level that, you know, a collaboration between the two of us would make sense and not be seen as, you know, one person, trying to, ride the coattails of the next, then that's the route that I wanted, that I made the personal decision that I wanted to take. And I think over the last, 10 plus years, I've been able to accomplish a few things on my own to, basically say that, hey, I'm an artist too. We were both fans of music. I put him up on stuff, as a youngin under me, I like to think that I sort of, gave him some of that guidance on, what to listen to and, the style of music that I was listening to. I was putting him up on game and sort of molding him into to be a little bit of what he is today. I like to take a little bit of credit for that, but yeah, I wanted to sort of establish myself, build myself up, and if it's in the cards, if the timing works out at some point, we'll reconnect when it makes sense. And it's looking more and more, as time is going on, as it could be a possibility. So, but again, I never wanted to force anything. I want it to be organic, and when the timing is right, it'll happen, and it's only going to make the product that much better if it's natural and organic and not forced. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we've talked about it. At some point, it'll happen, but when the timing is right, it'll happen.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely looking forward to. I've been looking forward to it. I think it's uh both of you are just so incredibly dope. Whatever you guys are gonna cook up, I know it's gonna be incredible. Um, his style of production is really dope. Like it's always been unique. Like his drums, that little stagger in the drums, and like
Mm,
I really like it. And I like yeah, I definitely admire it, and I always like, yo, I can't wait to hear S on something like this. It would sound incredible, yo. You know, so
Respect, respect.
and yeah, shoot, look, it should be a concept album too, in my opinion. Like, I know you would come up with something incredible, like you would tell some incredible story, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely, I definitely can't wait, yo. If you do it, I would love to get a preview. You know,
For sure, for sure.
yeah, that's dope, man. So it's like, is there anything you want to plug before we wrap it up?
Um, yeah, I mean, if I got a few seconds to plug some stuff. So for anybody watching, yeah, I got a project out right now, that I'm still pushing. Album that I dropped last February of last year called Driver or Driven, concept album that I dropped, with Das the Beat Junkie, a local Toronto producer. Yeah, it's out right now on all platforms, on Bandcamp. Shot a couple of music videos for it that you can find on YouTube. And yeah, still promoting that, CD, vinyl, digital. And I'm working on some new material as we speak. I've got a collaborative album with another local artist that you're gonna hear about if you haven't already heard about him. He goes by the name of Shark. It's a dope lyricist from the London, Ontario area. So be on the lookout for that. Some more details about release timing and album title and all that's going to be dropping in the next few months. So tentatively looking at a summer release. We pretty much got probably 90% of it done, 90% recorded. Literally right after I get off this call with you, I got 2 joints to record tonight, and the album is pretty much going to be a wrap. Gonna get it mixed, mastered, and hopefully July, August or so, we'll have a new project with yours truly on it. So
So,
yeah, stay tuned for that.
yo, that driver driven, is that the one with El Zion on one of the tracks? Or is that
No, that was the album before that. That was You Want a Piece of Me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was dope. Yeah. What up, world? Yes, that was Double Profit and S Prophet Jewels podcast. Yes, so um, I had to cut off that interview got cut off quickly by Zoom, but yeah, I just want to put an outro to this. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna put a link in the bio to S's music so you get a chance to hear it if you haven't before. Um, Hit him up. He's a very humble guy and he's very friendly uh, with the music listeners. Check out his music. Check the Driver Driven, and he has many other projects. You can find him on Bandcamp, on Spotify, and all the streaming services. So yes, once again, thank you, S, for being on the Prophet Jewels podcast. Hopefully, the first of many episodes, and we'll come back, spin the block, and we'll do it again. But yeah, thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching the whole thing. And nothing but love. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Have a great month, Hills. Nothing but peace and love. Signing out. Boom.
From steel bed borders to live from headquarters, we went from bread on us, police and feds on us. We set to head forward, no wreck, no bread corners. We fed the best corners, low heat, no stress on us. That's God's grace. Yeah, that's God's grace. That's God's grace. That's God's grace. Yo, the drum will rumble, it flash like lightning, crazy thunder. The boys are slumping, shooters just like Katie Thunder. She came to see